Hickok 45 here. I'm going to show you how to shoot this thing. Oh, there's another target over there. He jumped over the log so I wouldn't shoot him again. No problem with that, only 2 shots. Yeah, yeah, Hickok 45. I wasn't sure how to do it, but I kind of got the knack for how to work the thing, and I'm going to show you how to work the thing now too. Okay, and you've probably seen from the title, that's just an extremely hilarious joke I'm using there for the Howdah pistol. Okay, I think it's empty. If we saw it shoot twice, it's probably empty, right? We don't need to check the chamber. That's the cool thing about these. You know they're empty if they fire. Now I guess you could have such a light load or something. You could be so clueless you could not know it. I don't know how that would happen or not, but this is a double barrel and it's called a Howdah. And this is mine. And think about buying one of these for your concealed carry firearm. How's that for an idea? Now this is a little different, and I have looked at these things for years, decades, I guess. I've been a little bit enamored by them whenever I see one in a magazine, an article, or an actual gun at a gun show. Not that they show up very often, but maybe at an antique gun show, place like that. And I'm like, wow, that's the definition of cool. Short shotgun or rifle, whatever it is, whether it's chambers 45-70, or it's a shotgun, whether it's percussion, whether it fires cartridges, just whatever it is so cool. A pistol, big pistol that shoots a lot of shot or a big bullet or whatever the heck it is. And that's kind of the definition of a Howdah pistol, all right? Now what this is firing is nothing that we got, by the way, from Federal. We appreciate Federal's help, and we normally are firing stuff they send us, but I don't think they have this kind of stuff. They might, you know, I need to actually check into it a little bit more, but I don't think they do. Caps and shot, they might offer shot. I need to check on that, get some free shot, don't I? This is number 4, that's number 7.5, you know, the wads and the whole 9 yards. But anyway, the Howdah pistol, and it's, now I'm going to try to be safe with this baby. Well, I am going to be safe with it, but I need to kind of move it around a little bit, and it's a little bit different to work with. I've got my big ramrod, and I've got this rod that works for most things, and it's best to load it from right here. I'm going to use powder and a dipper, and just, you know, go at it like that. And I'll just go ahead and load it again while I'm talking. How's that? This is a pistol that was used fairly extensively riding on elephants, and you might find it interesting. I'd look it up. All you do is Google it and you find some neat information about this and lots of different variations of it. But back in even in the late 1700s, but especially in the 1800s, early 1900s, if you were an explorer, a soldier, a hunter, in Africa especially, or India, and you're in an elephant caravan, or you're riding in one of those big baskets up on the elephant, which is called a Howdah, by the way, and that's where it gets its name. Well, you're in the deep jungle hunting, and guess what might just decide you look like dinner? A tiger, lion. And I don't know if you've ever noticed, observe a house cat sometime, or just cats at the zoo. There's one characteristic they all share. They're very, very quick. And so if a tiger came running up your elephant to snatch you for dinner, you might not have time to grab your rifle and get it in position. So they would carry something like this. And it was designed for close range to really basically ward off a tiger as much as anything. That was the main purpose of it. All right, you're riding along there and all of a sudden, whoa, you know, you've got something that's powerful. They would use buck and ball, which means, you know, a combination of bigger pellets, you know, or just a bullet, a round ball, or whatever it would fire, depending on the generation and what year it was. But they wanted something that would be effective in stopping a tiger. All right, and that's kind of where that's the story on this thing. And you see them around. You might see an antique at a gun show or something. They're pretty interesting. This one is a replica by Pedersoli and made in Italy. And I just thought it was so cool. I've wanted one for a long time and just finally bit the bullet. And I'm going to put some powder in here, and it's had time to cool off. I'm going to load the left barrel first. I've developed a kind of a pattern where I do everything I'm going to do to the left barrel generally first. That way I won't get mixed up, because I'm meager-minded, as y'all know. I'm going to close up the powder, okay? And over the powder, you need to put a over powder wad, and that would be this one right here, okay? Get these wads. So most of them when I was at Friendship at the black powder shoot, because I knew this was coming, so I kind of got set up for it. Some of these are from is it Mike's, they set up there, Mike's black powder supplies or whatever it's called. And then some I got from Circle Fly. They've been making these for a long time too. So this stuff is available. So you push down the wad over the powder, okay? And you're always kind of watching, making sure you're all the way down, as I've talked about extensively in muzzle loading videos. So you can tell by how far it goes down. It really loads smoothly. It's pretty nice. Now also, you see all this variation of wads. If you have experience doing this, you may do it differently. I have been doing a lot of reading on it, because this is my first muzzle loading shotgun. I've always kind of wanted one, so has John. And so now we have one, and it's cool. I've been enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. I've got to have a regular long one. I really do. It is neat. And it just works. So anyway, there's different theories on it. In the reading I've done, I've run across about 18 different ways to load them. I mean, basically they're the same. You got to have the powder in first, then a wad to cover it up. You don't want to burn through into the shot. And then you put your shot in, you put a cushion wad, and almost everybody uses a cushion wad between the powder and the shot. And then over the shot, you put another small card just to hold the shot in there, okay? So it's basically that. It's just a matter of people have different opinions, and the shot and the size wad that they like to use, and the way their gun patterns, if they're hunting or not, and all that kind of thing. So it can vary. And then some people are minimalists. They get by with fewer wads, and it's just there's just a lot of different ways to do it, all right? And I'm experimenting accuracy, and I'm not trying to hit a bird out of the air at 50 yards or anything like that. I'm not hunting. For this, it really doesn't matter as much, of course. And even in a shotgun, if you're not hunting, it's not quite as critical. But anyway, let's go. So I got the powder in. I put a card over the powder. Now I go with my cushion wad, and a couple of these, and I've lubed these a little bit. I've soaked them in ballistol, kind of. That helps keep the bore clean. So put one of those in each muzzle and push it down. That gives some cushion to the shot. There's a lot of force pushing it out of there. You don't want your shot generally to get deformed. It flies better if it stays round. Does that make sense? All right, now I've even read some people will put another card like over the cushion. I talked to a guy at Friendship, talks about using a lot of nitro card, this thicker card, using extras of those. He gets really good patterns at certain things using that, and doing all these different things. So lots of different ways to do it, like I said. But we've got enough. We've got our cushion wad. So now I'm going to put shot in. Let's see. You know what? I might just go ahead and shoot some number 4. This is number 4 buckshot. And I'm going to try to get it full. It's not a perfect science. Doesn't have to be. Now I'm going to load the left barrel first. There we go. This is number 4 buckshot, like I said. The right barrel. All right. Ooh, dangerous looking stuff. Might work on a tiger. And now we just need an overshot wad card. And I'll put those in there. Now I'm going to show you something else. I'm going to put, I don't know if it helps, but I'm going to put 2 of these over the left barrel. Over that. They're kind of thin, and they just hold the shot in there. That's their main goal there, purpose. And I'll tell you why I'm doing that in a second. I'm going to show you something you've got to be careful about with these. First of all, you've got to be very careful to do the same thing in each barrel, and not, that's why I always start with the left and watch what I'm doing. You don't want to load the one barrel twice or get twice as much powder in one barrel. That's one of the things that could happen with a double barrel. So you really want to focus and not have like 2 powder charges in one barrel and none in the other or something weird like that. So you got to be careful about that. And the other thing has to do with inertia. When you shoot the first barrel, which I always fire the right barrel first, then that pullback could release your shot. Okay, it could move on you, or a bullet, whatever you have in there. Just something that could happen that you want to check. Now, I have shot this a lot, and I've been shooting one barrel at a time, over and over, and it just doesn't move. With the wads I'm using, it has not moved one iota in that left barrel. Okay, so otherwise if you had your shot move out here, your bullet to come loose under recoil and be out here, then you got that issue with the pipe bomb, or what you don't want, you know, the powder, having space between the powder and your ball or your shot. Okay, so I'm going to do this that way. I did this a lot of different times, so I'll show you what I did, and I recommend you do, especially until you are certain absolutely that you're not going to have a problem with it based on the load you're firing, your specific firearm, and all of that. Okay, so I'm going to shoot just the right barrel. I've got shot. Let's shoot the paper target. All right, let's see what kind of pattern we get from right here. All right, got the wad hit, of course. Nice. It would work. I shot that number 4 bucket several things, and it patterns just nicely, you know, even with this hand load. Now, here's what I was talking about. See, the left barrel's still loaded, but there's no fire, of course. There's no cap, so no way it can fire. And the reason I didn't put a cap on it yet was because I wanted to come over here and check it. The cap wouldn't have done any damage. I just wanted to be checking it. So, yep, it's still down. Hadn't moved a bit. All right. So I just wanted to double check that, just to show you. And that's something you want to do, okay, until you're certain yours works without doing that. All right. Why don't we just take off another 2-liter here. Why don't we use the correct trigger, though? I was pulling the right barrel, which is the front trigger. And I know better than that. That's the way all shotguns are. You know, the forward trigger operates the right barrel, okay? So that's just a safety thing you want to be aware of, okay? And I'm so glad this one doesn't have an issue with that. Now, if I were to change my wadding, or if I bought a new batch of cards and wads and things, I might want to recheck that. You know, maybe they're not quite as tight or something. Who knows? Okay, I'm going to do what I do every now and then is I grab my full-length ramrod. This is for a 58 caliber, so it comes in handy with this 20 gauge. Works pretty cool. And just run a patch in there. Although I don't think I really have to. You know, it doesn't clog up a lot. One advantage, I guess, of this replica is I think this one's chrome lined. The barrel is. I know they're full length shotguns are and all that, and they just don't get too bad shape. So it's pretty neat. Let me take that out while I'm at it. Let's see. Show you how it's put together here. Just take this pin. It's really stiff, which I'm glad it is. Take the barrels off without any trouble. Would be one way you could clean it. In fact, you could just take them off and soak it in a bucket of water, whatever you want to do. And a little system here for getting that out without scratching my barrels. It is tight, and I'm glad it's tight. That's the way I want it. There you go. So pretty much what you'd expect. All right, it's a percussion gun. It's a percussion. Pretty wood, isn't it? I've always, of all the reproduction muzzle loaders and such, I've always been of the opinion that the Pedersoli was probably, I guess, I don't know if it's the premier, but it's one of the premier, maybe the premier, you know, muzzleloader manufacturer. They just make good guns, and they're many of them. They just look good. They use good wood and all that sort of thing. At least the ones I've seen. So that's what you got right there, and it's got a weight on the end too, kind of a counterweight just to add to it. But the whole thing is pretty heavy. It's like almost 4 1/3 pounds, something like that. So it's got plenty of weight to absorb the recoil. You could load it up pretty hot. I'm just using, they actually recommend about, what was it, like 36 grains or something like that of powder, which is really anemic, really an anemic load. Most people I've read online are using like 50, 60, 70, grains. But again, travel at your own risk. Be careful. I'm using 60 right here, and I was using 50, and I cranked it up a little bit. One of the things in my learning experience here about muzzle loading shotguns was that most of the time, the same amount of you load the same amount of powder as you do shot, by volume, not by weight, but by volume. So you can use the same dipper. This is an antique one. A student got me that back in 1973 when I started teaching. It was funny, I wasn't even sure what it was, but he knew I was into shooting. And that's really what that is. And I used it for a couple of days. Then I realized with a smaller container, these that are made for that kind of work better the way they're kind of cut. But I've used that some too. But anyway, so that's kind of weird. And as I've told you before in muzzleloading videos, black powder is not quite as critical, even though it's highly ignitable. Unlike smokeless powder, you can vary. Like I could load 10 grains in here. In fact, we did, or before we started, John, we put about 10 or 15 grains of powder in, messing around. Or I could load 50 or 60 or 70. It doesn't make a lot of difference, except it's more powerful. Other than more recoil, but you've got to make sure the ball or the shot, whatever it is all right against the powder. Okay, that's the most important thing, much more so than how much powder you use with black powder. All right, so we've shot some shot. I started out with some 7.5 shot, and I've shot some number 4. Let me show you what else it'll do before we run out of time. You have to run to dinner. Another cool thing about this, okay, you don't even have to shoot that. Like I say, the buck and ball, the bigger shot, was a combination of that, was useful, I think pretty popular when you were riding in the Howdah and were trying to ward off any tigers quickly running up the elephant. But then they also had bullets. They used bullet rounds and all that kind of thing too. One thing you can do is you can load a ball. A patch ball in it, of course. These are 610. I'll put that in there so I know the size. Got these recently too. These are 610s, 610 thousandths. So 60 caliber. Okay, trying to confuse you. All right, so let me load a couple of those. Pretty versatile, no doubt about it. And there's a lot of really cool firearms from back in the 1800s, of course. One of the most commonly used on the frontier, though, was a shotgun because of this versatility. You could load a ball, you could load shot of various sizes. Here I am, left barrel, remember? I try to stick to that. And also pay attention to what I'm doing. So I got powder in 2 different barrels. Didn't put it all in one barrel. Okay. Now what? Class, what goes on next? Yes, you're correct. The over the powder card. Okay. Now you can use these nitro cards. They are they're thicker, and maybe I'll use those. Okay. You don't want that fire blowing by. Just put those in there. And most of the experimentation is done by hunters, and I talked to a fellow that actually competes with a shotgun up at Friendship at the national shoot there. And so if you're doing that sort of thing or you're hunting a lot with it, then it's really important to experiment with a lot of different sorts of loads. And because anything you do, if you use a smaller cushion wad, even like I'm about to put in here over the powder, it could give you a different pattern and that kind of thing. So you just want to experiment a lot. I've learned enough to be dangerous. I kind of know the things to think about. But where I don't hunt, I shoot for fun. I want a good pattern. And then, I'm just kind of enjoying it, the history of it and all that. I also learned that if you've got choked barrels, screw-in chokes, it's harder to get these cards in there. So I don't want any part of that. When I get a regular full-length shotgun, it's going to be like this. It's not going to be choked because I don't want to deal with that. I don't need it. I'm not going to hunt with it. All right, so I've got the cushions in there. Now you could even put another card over that if you wanted, before you put the bullet or whatever you're doing. And what I did? I put the cushion in, and I didn't really need to for the ball, but it won't hurt anything. It won't hurt anything. So I'll go ahead and load a ball because I wanted to show you that. You could load anything you want. Okay. Because if you're shooting ball, basically it's like it's very similar to a just a muzzle loading rifle in a lot of ways, the way you load it. Although, you know, come think of it, maybe a lot of people do go ahead and put the cushion wad in there. Doesn't really hurt. These balls are big enough, you get a nice snug fit, but they still work. I don't think I even need the small part of that. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and I'm gonna push that on down while I'm thinking about it, because that's so important. Yeah, good, goes all the way down. That's exactly the amount of friction I want. I don't want so hard it's tough to load, because you generally need to support these with one hand while you're doing all this. You know, you could get a stand, that kind of thing, but it's nice to be able to just go ahead and load it. There we go. Like I say, these reproductions, this Pedersoli is, I believe it's chrome line. It's got a nice smooth bore, so it makes that easier. Now, you don't need an overshot wad like this, like I did on the other loads, because you have no shot in there. You just have one big ball. All right. All right. Let's see if they're really in there. Okay. Now, I have shot a couple of these, and I won't hit anything today, right, because we're on the camera. But I hit the cowboy, my first shot with one, right in the center, and then I shot low on him on the next shot. But they do work, and it's not like some crazy, unbelievably inaccurate round or anything. Okay. I'm putting those hammers even down on it to make sure it's tight. Yeah, seated right. Okay, I put them on half cock. All right, so we've got some 60 caliber balls here now. Let's shoot. Well, let's try the stop sign. Let's see where it goes. All right, so lead ball, of course. And when the smoke clears, look at that, right in the center. Wow. Okay, and I'll try the cowboy. This is where I shot low with that left barrel. I don't know that there's a big difference, but I'll hold up a little bit higher. Okay, well, I probably flinched on the first. Nice, nice. So we turned it into a rifle. Well, not really a rifle, but it will shoot about anything. About anything. And of course, one thing we're going to do, I know you just won't be happy if I don't do it, okay? And that is, yeah, I'll shoot both barrels at one time. Wow. Should I crank the powder down a little bit? Let's make sure it's clean here. See, look at that. It's in good shape. I think I can probably handle that load. We'll shoot some shot, okay? And I will shoot both barrels at the same time, because when you have two triggers, you can do that, okay? One thing, you probably notice I have pipe cleaners out here all the time. We're doing muzzle loading stuff, and that's for the nipple, make sure they're cleaned out and everything. You just run them in there. I use them when I'm cleaning the firearm after we're finished and all that, okay? Generally, you don't have problems, but it's just nice to have everything you need, all right? And again, where the hammers are cocked or not, if there's no cap on those nipples, this thing cannot fire. Okay, cannot fire. Okay, all right. So, and you do have to be aware. You know, we're not smoking cigarettes. You notice we've got black powder exposed here, but in a lot of ways that's even safer, because you know, if there were a spark in here, you know, it's just going to flash. There's no grenade in my hand or anything. So I could do this even when I'm shooting the rifles, wouldn't matter. Oh boy, here I go, full load. All right. That powder, close that up in case John spits some fire or something. All right, let's put an over the powder card in there. We could just shoot blanks, right? Be no problem. Put the cards down on there and put the caps on and be a nice blank. I know that wouldn't kick too much. All right, cushion wads. Drop one. Find him. Put those down on the powder. Now you might not even have to put the over powder card if you're using those cushions. I don't know. Some people do, some people don't. Again, I'd rather err on the side of having too many cards in there than otherwise. All right, got the cushion in, now we need shot. Okay. You know what, I could, yeah, I'll go ahead and do it. I'm tough, I can handle it. Okay, I won't worry if they're not full, but okay, left barrel, right barrel, okay, over powder. Now here we don't have this issue at all. Look, overshot, the thin ones. Don't have that issue at all because I'm going to pull both barrels at the same time, right? So, not going to be a problem. Other than my hand, maybe. All right. This is really fun. I have thoroughly enjoyed doing this the last few days. I can't tell you. That's what's one of the cool things that I said before about the shooting hobby, the sports. There are so many different kinds of shooting. What you got, skeet shooters, you got long range, bench rest shooters, you got muzzle loading, a bunch of different aspects of that where people compete with handguns, different sorts of handguns that are muzzle loaders or black powder, shotgunning, rifles, long range. I mean, you've got so many different disciplines and types of firearms and the history that there's just no end to it. And here I am at my age, my gosh, I'm almost 35 years old, and I am just now discovering the joys of shotgun muzzle loaders and thoroughly enjoying it, and already have plans to get a real shotgun because I have just, I like these things, they're just so cool in the history of them. I didn't expect it to be so much fun, the loading of it and everything. So, I don't know. I guess there's no hope for me, right? That's what it comes down to. Okay. Oh man, did I really say I was going to shoot 2 barrels at once? I guess I did. And there's a 2-liter sitting right here in front of me. Looks like a likely target. Yeah, he does. Yeah, let's shoot him. Okay. Now it's going to kick a little more. But it won't hurt you all. It won't hurt you all a bit. If I get a good grip on it, maybe it won't hurt me. Maybe you get to see me bleed again. Like you did in the, what was it, the HK VP9 SK or whatever video. All right, I got a good handle on it. Here we go. That wasn't too bad. Wasn't too bad. Oh, well, I wonder why. I just got one of them. Oh man, I didn't get that other one pulled. Let's put it on this target. No, let's shoot that stuff right there. Okay. We'll do it double barrel the next time. Well, unless we really want, do we really need to do it? You think, John? You think we do? Okay. Well, let's do it. John wants to see me hurt. He wants to see me hurt. He is determined to see me in pain. Wow. Okay. Here we go then. Let's get some powder. Let's see. Was there anything else while it's burning down here, cooling off? Yeah, just a pretty gun, basically. 2 triggers. You got a weight back here. The barrel makes it front heavy. There's no doubt about it. When you hold it like that, oh boy, that thing front heavy. But you know, for the intended purpose, you know, this would have gotten the job done as long as you could get a shot on the tiger, you know, so to keep you from being eaten. Now again, they didn't use these for hunting tigers. I don't know if anybody's ever hunted tiger. I guess they have, but this is self-defense basically while riding on the elephant. Okay, and they were in all sorts of configurations depending on the times. And then as we got into the 1900s, there were other things, you know, like really nice, powerful revolvers that you could carry and load fast and all that sort of thing with cartridges. So this sort of thing became less, you know, important. They would even cut off old rifles and double barrel shotguns, all sorts of things to use for that purpose. Well, you can imagine the horror of, you know, being in one of those baskets and a tiger come running up at you. So quick. They are so quick. I don't have to tell you that if you ever observed a cat. I've got a couple of cats, so I can tell you they are quick. All right, over powder card. Make sure they're the same. Yep, same on both. And cushion. I don't think that cushion wad provides me any cushioning, but it does for the shot. I'd hate for the shot to get deformed, right? Again, for the purpose of this, none of that really mattered much. You just wanted a lot of blast at close range. Be a good anti-carjacking piece, wouldn't it? All right, let's see, what else now? All right, I guess we better put shot in. I should have just skipped the shot. You would have never noticed, right? You wouldn't have known the difference. You wouldn't have known the difference. Oop, a couple of grains got away. Pick up a couple more there. All right. Pellets, not grains. All right, overshot. Yeah. Yeah, in some ways this is, well, there are more steps, I guess, but in some ways it's simpler than loading a muzzle loading a rifle. You don't, it all goes down pretty easily and all that sort of thing. Main thing is get the wads the right size, the cards. As I understand, a lot of the old antique shotguns, you really need to check them out after you get one and slug it, or not slug it, but figure out the size of cards you need. There are people who make them. I think both of these companies, Mike's, whatever it's called, and Circle Fly, I think they have on almost every size you can imagine. 19 gauge, you know, it's just right on down the line, because if you buy an old gun that's supposed to be a 10 gauge, it might take a size 11 card or a size 9. There's a lot of variation there. All right, so we're loaded, right? I got the over powder cards in there. They're down correctly. If I didn't get them in, guess what? It'd be pouring out, and it's not. So, all right, let me try again. A couple, I'm on half cock. I just didn't coordinate the pulling of the triggers. I've done a lot of that before. I just never had that problem before. I guess I've never tried it on a shotgun pistol. Right? Okay. Well, you know, let's just do it on this paper. All right. All right. Maybe there'll be something left there to put on eBay. Who knows? All right. Let me focus now. Got 2 triggers to pull. 2 triggers. 3, 2. Okay. There was a little bit of an interval there, but they both went off. All right. I think some of it got on there. Oh, man. That's cool. I guess if a tiger were really after you, you're going to need to have this in his face, you know, and maybe you wouldn't want to necessarily pull both of them at the same time. You might want to save one in case you missed, or I don't know. Because, you know, when something is that close, even though it's a little shotgun like this, it's easy to miss it, you know, because it doesn't spread that much at 3 feet, 5 feet. So I guess that's probably enough shooting. You guys are getting hungry for dinner, and so are we. Anything else about this, anything I know? Like I said, there were so many different variations depending on the year. They started out as flintlocks, you know, and shot. They put shot in them. Some people put buck and ball, put a ball. And then when they were chambered for bullets, cartridges. You'll see all sorts of them. I think there's somebody that makes one. Maybe it's Pedersoli makes one in 45-70. Somebody does, you know. I have seen them, but I've always liked them, and it's cool. I'm really glad that I decided to get this instead of a cartridge one, because it introduced me to muzzle loading shotgunning, and it's just fun, a lot of fun. And also, by the way, at least in Tennessee, in 3 states, this was shipped right to my door. Now, I don't have an FFL. With a muzzle loader, you know, there's just much less crazy regulation, you know, so it's pretty neat, So the Howdah, it's H-O-W-D-A-H. I think that's right. H-O-W-D-A-H. Howdah. Well, it's in the title. Here I am telling you that. But Yeah, it's the Howdah Pistol, based on what they called those baskets and contraptions that people rode in, hunters, soldiers, explorers or whatever, in those elephant caravans or hunting, whatever, through the jungle, and to ward off wild attacks from wild cats, primarily, I guess. I don't know what else would climb up there that quickly and be that much of a threat. Probably not a hippo, right? But boy, a cat could be on you in an instant, and we all know that. Just sit around and look at your cat, if you have a cat or someone else does, and think about that cat being about 300 pounds or 500 pounds and what he could do. So the Howdah Pistol, I know you probably thought it was just for anti-carjacking, but it actually has some history behind it, and it's been fun to shoot it and kind of introduce it to you if you're not familiar with it. Appreciate you supporting us and our supporters, the NRA and Buds and SDI and Federal. We're some lucky dudes, and this is just a lot of fun. Life is good.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that, because I know I sure did. Well, I've got you here. I wanted to let you guys know about our friends over at SDI, the Sonoran Desert Institute. They are a fully accredited online distance learning program where you can be certified in gunsmithing, and you can also get an associate's degree in firearms technology. And they also do a lot of work with veterans. They accept the GI Bill. They also have hands-on experience, even though it's a distance learning program. So just want to let you guys know about them. Also, you can find them at sdi.edu. That's the Sonoran Desert Institute. And also, just want to let you guys know we have merchandise now. So if you want to buy any Hickok 45 merchandise, you can go over to our store. The link is in the description of every video. And there's also a link kind of on the header of the main channel page, the main YouTube channel. And so we've got that. And also, if you want to find more of our content in other places, it's everywhere. You can go to full30.com. We have most or all of our videos over there. You can also find us on Facebook, Hickok 45 Facebook. You can find Hickok 45 on Instagram. I think it's the real Hickok 45 over there. And then also on Twitter, it's Hickok 45. And then me, the son, John Hickok, you can find me at Hickok 45 and Son on YouTube. I also do a podcast called Gun Culture Radio, which you can find on that YouTube channel and also on iTunes. And there's also a John Hickok Facebook page, which you can find the link to on the Hickok 45 and Son channel page. There's a link over there. And that's all I can think of for now. It's a lot to digest, so you're going to want to think about that for a little bit and then watch one of these other videos that's like down there or over there somewhere, because some of these look pretty good.